ParleG. They made 78,000 crore by selling biscuits. Who are Vijay Chauhan and family, whose business has been famous for 100 years? The morning tea has just been made. Amid the steam rising from the stove, a yellow packet is taken out from the kitchen shelf. And without even thinking, some child in the house, some elderly person, or someone getting ready for office opens it and picks up a biscuit. This scene is so common that we do not even stop to think about it. But wait for a moment. Have you ever wondered how such an ordinary-looking biscuit could take one family into the ranks of India's richest business houses? The fear is that behind the things we treat as ordinary every day, there is sometimes such a massive empire hidden that becomes hard to believe. And the curiosity is this: who started a brand like ParleG? How did they do it? And how did it become not just a biscuit, but a part of India's collective memory? Today, the family that Forbes counts among India's richest families with wealth of around $8.6 billion, or nearly 78,000 crore, did not begin its story from a corporate tower, but from a small factory setup. According to Parle's official history, the foundation of the House of Parle was laid in 1928 by Mohanlal Dayal, while the first factory was set up in 1929 in Parle, where only 12 people made confectionery. This distinction is very important because in many places both 1928 and 1929 are mentioned. To put it correctly, the business idea and the beginning of the House of Parle are considered to be from 1928, while the operational factory began in 1929. That was the initial seed from which India's most iconic biscuit business later grew. At that time, India was under British rule, and the market for packaged confectionery, or biscuits, was largely filled with imported brands and foreign influence. In such a period, an Indian family starting a local confectionery business was not just about business, but also about mindset. Parle's official site clearly says that the early factory made confectionery. That means Parle's first step was not toward biscuits, but toward sweets and confectionery. Later, this same business expanded into biscuits. So if someone asks what Parle started with, the correct answer would be confectionery, not biscuits. Then came the turn that opened the path for this brand to reach every home. According to Parle's official timeline, the company baked its first biscuit in 1939, 𝐼𝐸𝐿. That humble beginning later turned into India's most iconic biscuit, ParleG. Even today, the ParleG brand page says that this brand has been nourishing the nation since 1939. So 1939 was the year when Parle truly entered the biscuit category. Many people directly take the name ParleG, but the beginning was in the form of 𝐼𝐸𝐿. Later, the same name evolved into ParleG. And this is where the real magic of the story is hidden. No flashy launch, no modern marketing blitz, no celebrity campaign. A biscuit that quietly entered people's lives through affordability, taste, and familiarity. And perhaps Parle's greatest business intelligence was that it understood India's mass market very early. This brand was not made for elite drawing rooms, but for ordinary homes, kirana shops, school bags, train journeys, and tea time habits. That is why ParleG did not become a niche success, it became a national habit. Economic Times wrote in 2023 that Parle is still the market leader in volume terms and sells 1.2 million tons of biscuits annually. A major reason behind Parle's success was also its timing. Before independence and in the decades after it, a very large part of India's population was living with limited spending power. In such a situation, low-priced packaged food products, especially biscuits, became not just snacks but accessible comfort food. Economic Times pointed out that ParleG's enduring success was partly because it addressed the needs of the large bottom portion of the population pyramid. In other words, ParleG did not just sell biscuits to India, it sold the formula of affordability. Parle's official timeline next mentions the launch of Monaco in 1942, which is described as India's first salted cracker. Then came products like Cheeselings in 1956, Kiss Me in 1963, Poppins in 1966, Crackjack in 1972, Melody in 1983, Mango Bite in 1989, and Hide and Seek in 1996. This makes one thing clear. Parle did not want to remain a one-product company. Over time, it built its grip across salty, sweet, candy, premium biscuit, and indulgence categories as well. This is the same strategy that makes big FMCG houses durable. One flagship brand builds mass trust, and around it several second-line brands create revenue diversity. Another interesting chapter in the identity of ParleG comes in 1980. The official timeline says that during 1981 to 1985, Parle was rechristened as ParleG, where the G stood for gluco. In 1982, the first TV commercial also came. That means the brand was no longer just a product. In the mass media era, it began turning into a cultural symbol. This was the time when the little girl shown on the packet, emotional familiarity, and simple messaging turned ParleG from just a biscuit into a nostalgia brand. In India, many people may forget the price, but they do not forget the ParleG packet. Now let us come to the ownership story. According to public business reporting and the Forbes profile, Vijay Chauhan is the patriarch of the family that controls Parle Products. Forbes said in its 2025 India's richest list that Vijay Chauhan and family had wealth of $8.6 billion. This figure broadly comes to around 78,000 crore in rupee terms, although the exact conversion can move a little up or down depending on the dollar-rupee exchange rate. So in headline-style language, saying 78,000 crore is broadly correct, but technically it can vary slightly according to the exchange rate. Even so, this number is enough to understand the scale of the wealth. A biscuit empire brought the family into the ranks of India's richest business clans. But it would be only half the truth to connect this wealth only to the Parle-G packet. Today, Parle Products is not just a biscuit company. It is a large FMCG network. Its official website lists categories such as biscuits, confectionery, snacks, cakes, rusk, the Platina range, atta, and breakfast cereals. In other words, over time the company has made its portfolio very wide. Even then, in the public mind, its biggest emotional anchor remained Parle-G. This too is a rare thing. When a company diversifies, yet its cheapest and simplest category still remains its identity. If we talk about scale, then according to Economic Times, in 2022, Parle Products crossed $2 billion in annual revenue and became India's first packaged food company to cross that mark. That same report said the company's net sales in 2022 reached 16,202 crore. This is no small achievement. If a century-old business can still maintain such a large revenue base in the middle of modern FMCG competition, it means it has extraordinary strength in distribution, pricing, recall, and consumption habit. All four. The story of distribution is no less interesting. That same Economic Times report says that Parle Products manufactures biscuits in India through 130 factories, of which around 120 are contract manufacturing units and 10 are own premises. This number does not just show manufacturing scale, but also the decentralized reach because of which Parle-G can reach even the smallest towns in the country. A market like India is not won only through ad spend. It is won through the factory to distributor kirana supply chain. Parle has done this with consistency over decades. And this story did not remain limited only to India. According to Parle's official global presence page, its products are accepted across many continents of the world. The company says that it has manufacturing units outside India in 7 countries: Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Kenya, Ivory Coast, and Nepal. And that in 2018, it added a new manufacturing plant in Mexico as well. So the story of popularity has moved beyond exports to local overseas manufacturing. This shows that Parle did not just serve the Indian diaspora market, but also created a local operating presence in many international markets. Parle-G's official site makes another important claim. Nielsen declared it the world's largest selling biscuit brand in 2003. In many places, the reference to 2011 keeps circulating, but Parle's own official site mentions Nielsen in 2003. So factually, it is safer to say that according to Parle's official brand page, Nielsen called Parle-G the world's largest selling biscuit brand in 2003. This difference may look small, but it is exactly such details that separate a script from being right or wrong. Perhaps the greatest strength of this brand has been its price architecture. For decades, Parle-G kept mass India attached to itself through a low price point strategy. Economic Times wrote that Parle-G maintained the edge of the 5 proposition for a long time, and when inflation, GST, and raw material prices rose, the company often reduced grammage to protect the price point. This strategy may sound controversial, but in the FMCG world, it is a tested survival method. The consumer's pocket psychology sees the price tag, not the grams. Parle understood this psychology very deeply, and this is where Parle's business genius becomes visible. Many companies create wealth by becoming premium, but Parle created wealth by becoming scale. It did not sell luxury, it sold habit. It did not sell aspiration, it sold routine. It entered the category of breakfast tables, school tiffins, office tea breaks, and travel snacks. Perhaps that is why its growth numbers are not just a story of market strategy, but also of social behavior. When a brand survives across generations without language barriers, region barriers, or class barriers, it becomes not just successful, but an embedded brand. Of course, competition was never small. Britannia remained a major rival in value share, and many brands grew quickly in modern premium biscuit categories. Even then, Economic Times wrote in 2023 that Parle remained the volume leader. The meaning of this is clear. Premium shelf space competition may have grown, but Parle's grip on mass India did not weaken. That is why the company later created premium offerings like Parle Platina, but never abandoned its core mass identity. Now, when people ask how Vijay Chauhan and family became so rich, the answer is not just that they sold biscuits. The correct answer is that they turned a habit more than a century old into a business machine. Mohanlal Dayal laid the foundation of the House of Parle in 1928. The factory came up in 1929. The first biscuit came in 1939. The Parle-G identity became strong in the 1980. And then distribution, portfolio expansion, global reach, and the low-cost mass consumption model turned it into a giant. A simple product becomes a wealth engine only when supply chain discipline, pricing intelligence, and brand memory stand firmly behind it. And perhaps that is the most fascinating part of this story. Many businesses in India became big, but only a few companies like Parle remained relevant for so long, across every class, every age, and every season. Even today, if someone buys biscuits from a village shop, a city supermarket, a railway platform, or an office pantry, chances are Parle-G will be there. That ubiquity, that familiarity, that silent power. That is the real capital of the Vijay Chauhan family. Wealth appears on the Forbes list, but its foundation is hidden in the trust built over a century. This video has taught you something new. Or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.